Hi, welcome back to Feeney Studio. You're probably thinking that this wheel is a disaster. So today I'm going to show you really quickly, really easily how to clean your wheel properly so that the person who's in charge of your studio, like it's you, and now you know how to show your students how to clean up your wheel properly. So this wheel was just used, so it's covered in clay, it's covered in muck, it's covered in everything that I've been using. My tools are gross, everything is filled with clay. So not only is this just a mess to look at, and it's not a good way to sit down at a wheel and work, but it's also kind of a health hazard. As soon as this clay starts to dry, it's going to be creating dust particles, and you don't really want that out of your environment. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take my little rubber rib here, plastic rib, and I'm going to take the flat edge of it, and I'm going to press it up against the wheel head so I can remove any excess clay and water and slip from my wheel. And throw that right into my water bucket, but that's going to later get recycled into workable clay once again. So I always start with my wheel head, and then I get a clean sponge, I rinse that off, and I do the same thing. I start in the center of the wheel head, and I just press, putting pressure, and I clean all the way out to the edge. You can come back, you can also refresh your water if it's really slippy and dirty. There's no harm in starting with fresh water. Also, when you're cleaning the wheel head, it's important to make sure that as you're coming around, you go all the way to the side and let the outside part of the wheel head, that lots of dry clay will pile up there. And if you're using bats on your wheels, then the clay will dry in there and you won't be able to get your bats off. Okay, so from there, now I'm kind of looking at this splash guard and I'm thinking, oh God, this is a mess. Before I take anything apart, the best way to ensure that you're not going to dump it all over your lap or all over the floor on your way to the sink, I squeeze my sponge out, and then I collect all of the water and any larger pieces of clay that might be in there. And you never want those to go down the drain either. So this is a really good way to teach your students really good studio habits of keeping the clay where the clay belongs and not in your sink clogging your drains. So I'm just collecting all of the excess water that I can. And then this is the part where students often will stop or give up or think that they're done. And it's really important that as you're cleaning your wheel that you take it one step farther than here. That I want all students to know that these splash guards come apart. So when you're looking on the sides, there's two little kind of holes, and they're all made similarly. So you'll see that there's like a small little tab over here on the right. And if you just press the tabs down, then this part comes off, and you'll see that there's two little holes. The other half has two little pieces that stick out that rest in those holes, so when you're throwing on the wheel, you know your splash guard's not going to come apart. But, so now that I have that off, I can continue and make sure that all of this clay is off. I'm not sure if this has ever happened to you, but if you leave this a mess, even if it looks like it's kind of clean, and the next day you come back and there's like crackling pieces of clay hanging off the sides, and it's even harder to clean up after the clay has dried. So it's kind of a pain, and it does take a little while, but it's an important thing to get into your studio habit now. Otherwise, wheel access is not usually encouraged to clean up after yourself. So then also on the outside, you want to make sure that you're just rubbing everything down. So I just put that to the side. And also, you'll notice that I have a number of tools, and I also have a pile of wet clay in front of me. Sometimes if you're throwing on the wheel and you have a piece that collapses, or a piece that you don't want to keep, or a piece that's just not that great, it's very, very wet, and you can't really work with that clay right away. So I have these piles here that are very wet. I'm going to set these aside, and they'll be ready to re-wedge in about an hour's time. So I'm not going to worry about putting it back in a bag or anything like that. So now I'm going to take take off the other side of my splash guard. This is the part that has what's called the neck. And this is the part that actually sinks in underneath the wheel head. And you also want to make sure that you get any clay or slip or pieces of clay or water away from there. Otherwise, this could create a really thick neck on your splash guard, which will make it really hard for you to put it back on and off again in the future. So it's really important that when we're working with clay that we clean up completely and as best as we can. I know in school, for my students anyway, it's really tough because once you get on the wheel, you like start to feel a little bit comfortable, and then it's time, the bell's going to ring, and it's time to go.
You're talking to yourself.
I'm talking to myself. There she goes again. I'm going to wipe off my wheel head one more time. And then I'm going to make sure my wheel is off so that this isn't going to start spinning at any point while I'm cleaning. I can't catch a break around here. So now I'm going to wipe off all of this area where I have clay, and I'm going to get underneath the wheel neck here. Okay? And you'll see there's lots of little pieces. Even though they seem small and not that important, when you have a few hundred of them, they can be enough to create another piece. So we recycle everything. And I will be doing a recycle demo as well, so that all of you can participate in recycling. Alright, and the way that I like to have my students leave their wheel heads at the end of class, this is how I know that they've cleaned and they're done and they're ready to go, and I don't have to keep them after class to continue cleaning. I have them put the small splash guard inside of the large one. Leave it right there on the tray table. And I have them take their stool, flip it up onto the wheel head, and make sure that the wheel is off. And they take their pedals and they put it right there on top of the chair, and then we push the wheel head back, or we push the whole wheel back against the like this. All right, thanks for watching.